This is Barry Heads with Sharp Counsel. I want to thank you for tuning in. Today, I wanted to start off with a new series, and I want to call it "Stress is an Opportunity for Growth." Short and sweet. Stress is an opportunity for growth. It'll be the first part of this stress series, and I want to start off this talk today with a story from Dr. Rabbi Abraham Twersky. This rabbi was alive during the 20th century. It was sort of well known. And I want to say this because he told this story quite often in his lectures, and it's called the Lobster Story. Okay. And what happened was that Rabbi Twerksy was in a doctor's office one day, and he opened up a magazine that was near him. He was sitting down waiting in a doctor's office, and he saw an article about a lobster. Now, he wasn't too enthused about reading about a lobster, but but the article poked at the point of how lobsters deal with stress. How lobsters deal with stress. So he continued to read the article. And the message I'll tell you with the following words what the article translated, or the message they tried to translate it to Rabbi Twerksy. It went as follows. So the article said that lobsters are creatures with a soft and mushy body. Lobsters are creatures with a soft and mushy body. Now, at the same time, they have a rigid outer shell that protects them from predators. So the question in the article was, how do lobsters grow? And the lobster continued to give the information. And it was as follows. What a lobster does when it's time for it to grow is that the lobster goes under a rock to protect itself from predators. Okay. If you recall, the lobster's body is soft and mushy. So, as the lobster struggles to cast off its old shell because it's become too small, and sometimes this process can take hours, the lobster struggles out of its small old shell. After that's done, the lobster stays under the rock to protect itself from predators, and it grows a new shell, a new hard, rigid outer shell. Once the growth process is complete, the lobster comes from under the rock and goes back out into the wild. Now, as the lobster grows throughout its life, it goes through this process over and over again. As the lobster grows, it becomes uncomfortable. It goes under a rock, casts off the old shell, grows a new shell, and goes back into the wild. This process happens over and over again throughout the lobster's lifetime. Now, the stimulus for growth in the case of the lobster is discomfort. When the lobster feels discomfort, meaning its old shell is too tight, it knows instinctively that it's time to grow and time to cast off the old shell and put on a new shell. With all that being said, this applies to leadership for us. So the etymology of the word stress, I looked this up, it comes from the Latin languages, and it means to draw tight. The definition we use in modern day America is pressure or tension on a material object, or tension resulting from an external circumstance. So I want to say this, that stress is normal. Okay, stress is normal. And stress in our lives and leadership, in our personal lives as well, is a time for growth. And we grow through adversity. Oftentimes we grow through adversity. I read an article a few weeks ago, and I think these stats are the same throughout almost any scientific journal you read. And the article told me that 75 to 90% of doctor visits are due to stress. I'll say that again. 75 to 90% of doctor visits are due to stress. So take care of yourself and take care of your body. It's difficult to function long term when we are overwhelmed with stress. There are times where stress is useful, and that's typically for a short period of time, short bursts of stress. There are times where stress is useful. But over the long run, stress handled over years and years and years and years without any breaks isn't useful at all in most circumstances. So I say this to you as I close. Manage your stress, or you'll soon find that your stress will manage you.